Someone asked me recently, how do I prepare for a role as an actor? So I thought I'd tell you. The first thing I do is read the script a lot, over and over. Or if it's just my scenes that I get, read that over and over. And it's also good to read it out loud because that gives you a different perspective, because when you're just reading, it's just in here, and when it comes out, it gives you a whole different feel and different ideas. So that's always a very good thing to do. And doing that, it gives you an overall view of your character. So you start to think about objectives and wants and obstacles and relationships and the environment you're in, and whatever the circumstances of the film are, and all those kind of things. And you build up a picture. And then in a perfect world, it'd be great to run all that past the director, and see if your ideas are coming from the same place as the director. And if they're not, that's okay. It's great to have that discussion and exchange of ideas so that together you can build the best character possible. So don't be worried if the director sees things differently. It's an opportunity to get the best character you possibly can, and always look at it that way. Of course, I have my notes. First read everything, ideally have a chat with the director. Yeah, I'd like to, and then you want to go in deeper, scene by scene, and analyze what's going on. And you bring in all that other work, the objectives and relationships and all that sort of thing, and you apply them scene by scene as is appropriate. But what I'm really looking for when I look at scenes are subtext and beats or changes, because you've got all that other stuff, even though it may need tweaking for each scene. What you're really looking for is what's actually going on in the scene, what my character really means or really wants, irrespective of what they're saying or doing. And sometimes your physical actions can be your subtext as well. So looking for all of that and any changes in emotional states or emotional events, and changes in any changes in wants or desires or objectives that may happen during the course of a scene. So, some scenes are very simple and straightforward, but some are very, very complex, and you need to dig in. And again, excuse me. And again, when you feel like you've got the scene, or if you're not sure, the director's always there. However, one thing you should be aware of, and I've experienced this a lot, and I know a lot of actors have, is that there are plenty of directors that don't really engage much with actors. So you have to be as prepared as possible, and it's good to work in the assumption that you're not going to get any feedback. You need to work it out. So if something is not feeling right when you're doing it, don't be shy to ask for another take, because you know you haven't got it yet, even if you're getting nothing back. You may not get it, but at least ask. Yeah, something came to mind then, and it's just gone. I like to, excuse me, I like to learn the scenes in order, chronological order. Well, story order, chronologically, story-wise, so I can map the whole journey of my character. And once I'm comfortable with that, I change to learning things in shooting order. I would have made notes about in each scene, where I am in my journey as a character, so that when I do it in shooting order, I'm aware of where I'm up to each time. Does that make sense? So if I have a scene and it's halfway through the film and halfway through what my character's journey is, that I will know that at this point, I've just been dumped by my lover and I'm feeling down as I head into this scene, rather than just playing it as if, it's a standalone one-off thing and you don't know what happened before. So I like to do it in shooting order because that way I'm as ready as possible for when we start filming. And what I literally do is I throw the pages, to the other side of the room once I've finished shooting scenes, and so they're out of the way and I can just focus on what I need to. Excuse me, I just dropped something. So that's what I do. And what else have I written here? I look for inspiration from art, from movies, from books, from watching people, from talking to people. Like if you have a specific role and you want to know more about it, or more about an aspect of it, try and find someone that does that job or has insight into those things. For example, I had to learn a little bit of Latin for a recent role, and I contacted a Catholic priest because the Latin was in a religious context. So I contacted them and got some feedback from them, and it was really helpful. So do those sorts of things. People are nice in general. So if you reach out, explain where you're coming from, invariably they will help you. If you can get rehearsals, if you have rehearsals, that's great. If you can meet with your fellow scene partners, fantastic. But you don't always get these opportunities, especially in indie film. It's usually, you got the role, here's the script, see you on such and such a date, and we'll start shooting. It's often like that with indie film. You might have some, Skype time, Skype. Skype, I think Skype's still around. Zoom calls with your director, or you might be able to practice with your scene partners. But you can't assume that with indie film, because the other people, the director, the other actors may be busy and you might not be able to organize it. And if there's no scheduled rehearsals, you're just not going to have that opportunity. Hopefully you can, certainly with your scene partners, and hopefully you can clarify things as you go along with the director, but it's always good to be as prepared yourself for none of that happening. And another thing you should consider is when you're making choices in scenes for what's going on, or how your character's feeling, or what their objective is, and things like that, you should have options. Don't just think, well, this is the way the scene goes for my character. No, anything could happen. If your scene partner says something differently, or in a different way than you're expecting, that's going to completely throw you. You've got to be able to roll with it. And your scene partner may say their line differently for every single take. And you have to be ready to adapt and just roll with what's given to you. You can't be locked in. Never be locked in. And not just the scene partner, obviously, the director. You may do something, you think it's great and it's on the money and what you're prepared for, but the director may even like it, but may come up to you and say, let's try it this way. So you need to be able to roll with that, as I said before, and just go with whatever's thrown at you as your character and carry on. Let's see. That's broadly what I do. There's probably lots of things I've forgotten. Just trying to think of some things. Oh, practical things like learning lines, do it with some sort of physical activity, helps them stick. And there's no right way or wrong way of doing it. I may do all of that and more for one role, and for another role I may only do parts of that, just because I feel like most of the time it's time restrictions, but you may feel there's some parts you feel more comfortable with than others, and you slip into, it's hard to explain, you just kind of slip into it easier than other roles which you need to really work at to get a grip on the character. So it depends on how you feel about it. But a lot of that stuff you want to do anyway, no matter how comfortable you may or may not feel. And yeah, so, and your way, if you're an actor, may be completely different, or you may do lots of other things that I haven't mentioned. So you may need to learn new skills or change your appearance or in some way. But for things like that, please check in with the director first before you make any of those changes or anything like that, because we've heard stories of big name actors turning up to filming with having put on 40 pounds or something, and the director sacking them because that's not what they wanted. So check in first. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I'm just going to go over this again. Yeah, so a lot of the time you don't get much time to prepare, especially with indie films. So, and sometimes you just get it hours before you need to be on set and filming it. So you've got to be able to put yourself in the hands of the director, ideally, and let them guide you. But if not, you've just got to be able to make some choices and give it a shot. Because sometimes it just turns out like that. And for commercials, well, if you're doing commercials, then there's often no or little dialogue, and it's largely actions, and you just do whatever the director wants you to do, really. There's rarely any length of journey for your character to go on. It's usually look this way, do that, it's a bit different. So you just leave yourself in the hands of the director. But like with all these things, you just roll with it, especially with commercials. I mean, it's all out of your hands anyway. But even if you feel like you're doing a film and you feel like it's not right, do what the director wants, then ask to do one the way you feel it should be done. You may not get that opportunity, but ask. And, try and have these discussions with the director before, while the camera's setting up or whatever. Chat with the director if you can. I know it's not always possible, which is difficult, but chat with them about your thoughts for the scene. And hopefully they will already be chatting to you about their thoughts for the scene. So it should be a good discussion. And I guess the overall thing I would say is just, don't get tight, don't get locked in. You never know what's going to happen. And you may go through wonderful discussions with the director, wonderful rehearsals, wonderful time with your scene partners. But when it gets to filming, something happens, Sometimes when you're on set and the light's on and in your costume and you're ready to go, all those things affect you and they affect your scene partners, and things will invariably go a little differently, or sometimes a lot differently to what you thought they would. So don't lock in. I think that's the enemy of an actor. Don't lock in. Always try and stay as open emotionally as possible and just deal with what's in front of you. That's what they say to sports people, and I think it's appropriate for actors as well. Just deal with what's in front of you and roll with that. Well, there are my thoughts, how I think about these things. Just trying to think of anything else I've forgotten. I'm sure I've forgotten something, but nothing's coming to me. It will once I press stop, of course. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget, you can watch Kin Spirits for free on Tubi.